It's National Signing Day. I'm excited to be invited as the keynote speaker at Camden Charter High School. If you know my story, then you know when I was at Woodrow Wilson High School, which is also located in Camden, I had a 1.1 GPA. So, you know, life is very interesting, man, how the tables can turn. Now I'm back preaching higher education and inspiring our youth. Let's go.
Your guest speaker for today, Mr. Prailow is a native of Camden. He graduated from Woodrow Wilson High School in 2007. He then went on to graduate from Camden County College in 2013. And then in 2015, he had the opportunity of a lifetime to work with President Obama as a White House intern. He did that from 2015 to 2017. And then he graduated from the University of Pennsylvania. So he is here to talk to you. I ask that you give him your undivided attention, because he has a lot of words of wisdom for you. So I present to you Mr. Prailow. Thank you. I don't say a word. I don't say a word.
High School, make some noise. First, I want y'all to make some noise for the class of 2018 on So as Ms. Ash said, my name is Prailow. I'm from East Camden. From the same city that you all are from. I grew up in the same streets and the same struggle. And I speak throughout this city all the time to high school groups and middle school groups. But today, I would like to say that this is probably one of the most special moments for me. I'm sharing this moment with you all on college signing day. And when I was in high school, going to college wasn't in my view at all. That was not on my radar. Going to college was something that I didn't think I could do. I didn't think it was for me. And I didn't have any role models or representation that I could look at and say, man, I want to be like that guy. Most people that I knew who were going to college to play sports or for some type of arts or theater. No one was going for academics. So today, I declare today is the most important speech that I ever did in this city. Because academically, that's what's going to take us to the next level in our lives, both individually and collectively. That's what's going to help lift Camden. As we all ensure that we're focusing up and we're taking that path to go to college, not just as athletes, musicians, and artists. So I'm going to give you guys a quick background about me. When I was in Woodrow Wilson, I got there in 2003. Graduated from East Camden Middle. I was a pretty good student. Played basketball and I played football when I got to Wilson. My 10th grade year in Wilson, I had summer school. I missed about 50 days. Wasn't going to school. Was in and out of class, but I was a good kid, right? So I want you guys to follow the story about how important education is, how our academics is the primary thing that can turn our lives around. So that's my 10th grade year at Wilson, right? I missed 50-something days to go to summer school. I did what I had to do, so I was able to proceed to 11th grade. In 11th grade, I had a pretty solid football year. I was focused, only when it was football season. When that was over, I was back to doing the same things, in and out of class, in the streets, in the hallways. I still managed to scrape by my junior year, because back when I was in school, you only had to have a 2.0 in the fourth marking period to be eligible for football. So that's the way we would try to ensure that we could play football the next season. We would mess up all year until it was fourth marking period. My senior year, though, was a change of events. I was 17, going on 18, I thought I was a grown man, like most of you probably feel right now. But I want to let you know, it is important to take your time and slow down. Because when I was 17, I was not a man, I was a boy, right? But I thought I was a grown man. So my senior year at Wilson, I didn't go at all. I had 97 unexcused absences and lateness. I had a 1.1 GPA. And I only graduated, my senior year, I only graduated out of Wilson with those credentials. I literally had a 1.1 GPA and 97 unexcused lateness and absences. They let me graduate because they changed the F in the gym class to a C. Right? So I wouldn't have graduated my senior year. So I'm 18 years old, June 17, 2007, I received my diploma, knowing I didn't earn it. So I had no intention to go to college. Took my diploma, I was thankful, I was happy. I thought I made my mother proud, which I did, but I didn't have a plan. So 2 years later, January 29, 2009, I was arrested right in East Camden, in the same section of the city where I was roaming the streets, and sent to the county jail. I was 20 years old. 8 days after Barack Obama became the first black president, I was on my way to the county jail. And at this time in my life, I still didn't think school was for me. Nobody was smart, nobody read books, nobody cared about academics. If I couldn't be an athlete, a rapper, or some type of businessman, then I didn't see the value in doing anything else. School wasn't important. But I had a change of heart when I was in that county jail. When I seen a bunch of men who looked just like me, Latino and African American men, huddled up, 5 people in a room, sleeping on floors, and eating slop and getting treated like animals. And I always heard about experiences in jail, and my father spent most of my life in prison, and you think you understand things until you're in that position, until you're in that circumstance. And fortunately for me, I only spent about 2.5 weeks in the county jail. I posted bail, and when I was released, I made up in my mind that if I was to overcome the offenses that I was charged for, that I would change my life. And every time I thought about doing something creatively, school was the only thing that kept coming to the fore of my mind. I wasn't big enough to pursue football. I'm only 5'5", 140 pounds. I didn't want to box. I couldn't rap. I waited too long to try to get my rap skills up. So I met a few people, who were local mentors in the city. And they told me to give education a shot. They told me that I could possibly do something in my life and change my direction if I focused on school. Now, mind you, I'm out on bail, meaning that I have a conviction possibly hanging over my head. And I was in deep thought during this time, praying and hoping that I didn't get convicted of these drug-related offenses, because as you all know, when you turn 18 years old and you're convicted of any criminal crime, that pretty much marks the end of that's the beginning of the end, right? For the rest of your life, you'll be marginalized, you can't work, you can't go to school, you can't get scholarships, you can't do any of the basic stuff that we all take for granted, and that you will be afforded to have. So I spent a bunch of time while I was out on bail trying to figure out what I was going to do with school. I didn't have a criminal past, I wasn't a bad kid, so I registered for Camden County College. A year after, I was acquitted of all of my offenses, and that was a blessing. I went to Camden County College at 21 years old. Now, I know most of you are probably thinking that's old, and that's the mentality that I had. I'm 21, I'm going to school with 18-year-olds, man, I'm too old for this, right? But that age difference gave me a different view on what Camden County had to offer me. I was a lot more focused than a lot of young kids that I seen coming in there, and I took advantage of it. I began to network, use the resources available to me, and I graduated Camden County with about a 3.9 GPA. And the kicker, this is the most important part that I try to share with young people in this city all the time, especially for some of you in this crowd who may be on your way to Camden County College. Don't feel discouraged. Obviously, that probably wasn't the mark that you wanted to hit, but understand the opportunity available to you. If you guys remember, earlier when I was speaking, I said that I had a 1.1 GPA in Wilson and 97 unexcused latencies and absences. I did horrible on my SATs. I don't even remember my scores. But the blessing of Camden County was that when I got over 30 credits and I had a high GPA, I was able to transfer to any university I wanted to, and they didn't look at my high school transcripts or my high school background. So I basically got a clean slate, and I took advantage of that. Graduated from Camden County College in spring of 2013, honors, and I got accepted into the University of Pennsylvania, one of the 8 Ivy League universities in the country. And when I got there, I was still focused, right? Now mind you, if you're following the trajectory, I was 24 when I got the pen. Again, an older student, you know, and feeling a little weird. Now I'm in class with 18-year-olds, right? But I understood that my path I was walking was mine alone. And that's what I want you all to understand. So if you're heading to Seton Hall, to Harvard, to Camden County, to Rowan, whatever school you're going to, understand that your journey is yours and maximize it. Use the resources available to you. One of the blessings of going to Camden County was not just that they didn't look at my high school transcripts, but I was able to take advantage of all that was around me because no one else seen what I seen. And a lot of my friends who went to high school, who went to college, right out of high school like I did, they didn't take advantage of what was in front of them. Some of them dropped out. And they weren't focused, they weren't mature enough to see what was in front of them. I tell you today, at 29 years old, most of my friends who chose to drop out of school and pursue other things, they're living a little rougher. You know, they're not as happy as they should be, or opportunities aren't coming to them as they should. So understand your walk is your walk. I was an older student when I got the pen, but I was humble. I understood that some of these 18-year-old students I was in class with I could learn from, just like I can learn from all of you. Never allow anyone to make you feel like your age makes you inferior or you don't add value to this world, that your intellect is not important. Because I was sitting around with students that were 6 years younger than me and they were telling me things I had no idea existed. And while at Penn, I went through a crisis. My first year there, I struggled bad. I was getting like 5 hours of sleep a night, and I ended my first year with like a 2.7 GPA, and I was frustrated. I left Camden County with a 3.9. I thought I was a genius. And when I ran into this struggle, I began to think about here. I began to think about back home, and I felt bitter. I felt angry, right? I felt that my city didn't prepare me to be able to excel in environments like this. But I also knew that because I was there, and I was a failing student in the past, that each and every one of you has what it takes to excel at the University of Pennsylvania's and the Harvards of the world. That's a fact. So I made up in my mind that I would work hard and transition my path at Penn to make sure I finished well to be able to come back and inspire young people. My second year at Penn, I learned the system. I sought out tutors, mentorship, remained humble throughout the whole process, boosted my GPA up to about a 3.3, and that's when everything changed. I had no intention on working at the White House. I didn't even vote for Barack Obama the first time he was elected. Again, I was on my way to county jail. I had no interest in politics. But the way life works sometimes, guys, is when you're focused and you're locked in and you're taking care of everything that you need to take care of, God will open doors that you didn't know existed. You'll be placed in positions that you had no idea you were going to do. So I had the opportunity to go to the White House in the fall of 2015 in the Office of Management and Budget as an intern. And again, I'm 26 at the time now. I'm an old intern. And I felt weird, man. I don't want to be no intern. I want to make some money. I'm smart enough to, be hired full time. But again, I had to check myself and keep that humility. Stay humble. And I found a woman right from Philadelphia who had a similar story to mine. She went to the White House as an intern when she was 31. So I said, okay, I'm not special, let me put my pride and ego to the side and take on this opportunity. At the White House, my life changed. I began to make relationships. I began to speak about Camden, tell people my story. And I would brag about how special this city was because it built me into the man I am. And I did well enough to get invited to come back to the White House to work full-time in the presidential personnel office. And throughout this time, I would still tell my story. I would still tell my story and try to inspire other people who have no idea how we live. They don't understand our realities. And that you are all survivors already. You done already accomplished things that people have no idea exist. You have overcame struggles and traumas that are remarkable. So let's start walking with that air of confidence, but keep that humility. While at the White House, I had a special opportunity to bring 3 young men from Camden there for a tour. Young men that was messing up in school. They went to Pine Point at the time. And I remember their faces as we were walking through the halls. And I let them come as they were. They didn't wear suits. I had a suit on. But they had on their regular clothes because I wanted them to feel comfortable in their skin. Because, to be honest with you all, I dealt with a lot of insecurities when I was canvassing these spaces. I felt like I had to change. My diction wasn't right. I still had a little Camden slang in my tonality. I couldn't shake some things. But when you move all of that to the side, the most important part is what's inside. What type of character do you got? That's what helped me transition my life. It wasn't that I was super smart or that I'm just a genius. What type of character do you got? What type of hustle do you have? And I know we have it, but what is it going to take for you to activate that? It took for me to go to jail to activate my intellectual ability. We don't have to wait till traumatic experiences happen for us to try to turn it around, because unfortunately, some people don't get lucky like me. Everybody don't get that break. I know guys who were doing way better than me in school, who have immense talent, but they didn't activate it. They let their environment swarm them. So I want to ask you guys one thing. What do you think college offers you? What do you think college is for? Is it to get a job? Is that it? Okay, we got some smart people in there. Okay, y'all beat me to my question. But basically, what I want you all to know is that when I was growing up, and I'm sure this conversation is still taking place in the city today, people always say, oh, you don't gotta go to college, man. I'm making a lot of money, I'm working, I'm doing well. I ain't go to school, I don't wanna have loans, I don't wanna owe $50,000 and be in debt. That's a waste of time. That's the mentality I had, and I heard people saying that. But I'll tell you one thing. It's a known fact, you can do your homework. Out of the Forbes 400, right? The Forbes 400 is the richest people in America. Only 68 of them don't have a college degree. That's less than 20%. So the whole idea that college is not important, or you want to be an entrepreneur, you can move forward without college, is not accurate. College is not a place for you to go and get a job. College is a place for you to go and change and develop and build that character. You can still be an entrepreneur and go to college, because college is going to offer you the resources and the social relationships you need to take your business to the next level. We all familiar with Facebook, right? Right? People love to tout, like, man, Mark Zuckerberg dropped out of college, like the dude went to Harvard. Right? So academics was a primary focus in his life, and in fact, most importantly, all his business partners were strolling at Harvard campus with him. So you have to understand that college offers you a lot more than just, I'm going to go to school and get a job and be locked in. No, you go there to develop. You go there to nurture your skills. You go there to open your horizons. You go there to change your perspectives. Because this bubble that we live in is not the world. And our norm is not the norm. You guys are special beyond belief, man. And it means a lot to me to be here, to talk to you all, because I know some of you probably don't believe me. But because I was that kid, when people would come speak, I would look the other way. Man, he's not talking to me. They don't know what I'm going through. I can't hear what he's saying. We all got struggles. And we're dependent on you guys. We're all dependent on you. I know I am. You might be able to hire me one day. You might be able to change the narrative of Camden. Because Camden is rising, right? We see all that's happening around here. It's positioned for you guys to take control. My generation didn't have this opportunity. We didn't have this development. So we didn't have no hope. So understand, I'm going to leave you guys with a quote from one of my favorite people, Dr. Martin Luther King. Right? And it's about education. I want you to let this sink in, because it wraps up everything that I'm saying, and it's how I'm describing myself and my journey. It said the primary function of education is to teach one to think intensively and critically. Intelligence plus character. Intelligence plus character. That's the true goal of education. So remember, school is bigger than just going to get a job. Don't let that stuff blind you. Oh, I'm not even working in my profession. I study social studies or sociology, and I'm working as a nurse or so. It doesn't matter. Don't let the naysayers in your community try to distract you from what college can offer you, especially from people who've never been. I got my bachelor's degree at 27 years old. When I was your age, I thought that was nuts. I'm not going to school in my late 20s. It was the best decision I made. So walk your race, or jogging, or running. Mine was a walk because it took 9 years. But understand that time is on your side, man. You guys are 18, 17, 16, 15, and 14. Right? We got some freshmen in here. So understand that the world is yours, and I want you guys to repeat after me as I wrap up. Education, I'm going to say education, right? And y'all going to say saves lives, because education saved my life, y'all. And that's the only reason why I'm here sharing my story with you all. You know, education saved my life, and I wanted to save yours, and I want you guys to live your best life. So I'm going to say education, and I want you all to say saves lives. Y'all ready for that?
Yeah.
All right. Education. Saves lives. Education. Saves lives. Thank you, Charlie. I love y'all. Thank you.
Another round of applause for Mr. Prailow. He neglected to let me know that I believe at this point he's running for city council. The city